KIB, and also I have the council governor and the chairman of the governing council of KIB. That's a big title, by the way. Even I'm stammering to just pronounce it.
It's a strong title. Yeah, it is.
Junior Rioba, what is the role of KIB in these games?
Yeah, KIB has a bigger role. Actually, is the main institute that brings all banks together.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that other than normal working hours, we want also the staffs, the bankers themselves, to showcase their talents and their skills other than in the offices. And we wanted to bring them together so that they also able to network, play together, at the same time have that spirit of working together as bankers in the industry to make sure that we're also moving the economy forward together. Yeah.
How does that really in terms of helping the teams? Like, you're also a team leader in KIB. If I start my bank today, is it a must that I must register with you, or it's just whoever is willing can go for it?
Jeff, that's a good question. At the Kenya Institute of Bankers, we don't force registration. Banks are obviously at will to decide whether they want to be corporate members at the Kenya Institute of Bankers. But because of the benefits that come with being a member of KIB, then generally you will see banks gravitating towards registering as corporate members. So that they benefit and we benefit. We support them through learning, we support them through education, we support them through standardizing the banking fraternity in terms of learning and in terms of enhancing the financial sector. In order for that to work, the banks have selected and elected to be part of the Kenya Institute of Bankers because we're able to convene all the banks in terms of learning, in terms of even getting certified, in terms of consultancy and research. And so that's the reason why we exist for the banks. We actually exist for the banks, but we also do that for the members themselves. We have individual membership that people will become part of.
To you, Mr. Rioba, you've had these games for 36 years. That's a long period of time.
Yeah.
Why is it important to maintain this culture?
It is a tradition of KIB to be holding these games every year. You realize that before COVID, we used to do it on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So when COVID came, we did not do it until this year. And it is a game that we hold dear in our hearts because it brings us together, all of us.
Yeah.
And it's very important for us that in every year we bring our bankers together, let them network, let them socialize, let them compete, because life is well balanced if you have games in. Because other than being in the offices, then when they're outside there, they're also able to showcase what they can do, their natural talents.
Yeah.
And if we give them that platform for them to compete, and we have winners eventually at the end of the day.
And to you, James, how does these games foster growth and development of the economy with the parties involved?
So you can think of this from macro, but also from the micro. Micro, imagine the kind of spend that happens around that area, around the KSMS, right? And that spend at the local level helps grow the local economy. But at a macro level, when banks come together, they share ideas. So even as the games are going on, you're sharing ideas, right? You find people from different banks discussing different things. What we hope is that then that translates into better business. And better business translates into some the levels of development, right? You also find that we do spend money. We have suppliers that we pay who then open up money back into the economy. So the different suppliers will go spend money. Of course, we spend on them. They then spend on their families and around the economy. So we expect that it's not just that at a micro level, but it's also at the macro level.
All right. I hope when you meet, you're not talking about increasing interest rates for us one loans. But
No.
Rioba, what is the long-term goal of these games? And as bankers, apart from meeting and getting to encounter each other and talk about development and all that, what is the long-term goal that you're looking forward to and say, you know what, in the next 20 years of these games, now we have 36, maybe the next 20 years, that will be around maybe 56 years. What would your long-term goal look like or be like?
Yeah, I look forward into us extending this to East Africa, so that currently we are doing it for Kenya. And then since we are having the block for East Africa, and also East Africa has bankers, I look forward we are going to be interacting as East African people. And then we also are able to do more business, more to network, more to share our goals together. The vision is to make it a bigger game and well recognized.
For so long, sports has been a unifying factor for so many people, and we've seen that all over the country. And for so long, banks supported sports teams. Even now, they do a few, but the scale at which they were doing it was very high long time ago compared to now. Why the scale down, James?
I think you also have to put in context, Jeff, where we are from an economic perspective. So you have to recognize that banks are also coming out of a COVID pandemic, right? And that even them from their bottom line, they've have to carefully watch how
long before COVID, by the way. I think I've just found that COVID is a scapegoat for everybody else. Even Standard Group says COVID.
You see, I honestly, if you look at the numbers, this has the numbers may have dwindled over time, but this year has been really good, even with the current issues that we have. You also have to recognize that it's done at the fourth quarter, and most banks, obviously, their financial year ends in the fourth quarter. So even the budgeting around that can also have its own challenges. So, but one of the key things you can see, especially when our patron became the governor, is that he's really made it a big deal and really encouraged banks. So you would see, yes, maybe the numbers are falling, but there's a lot of participation. I mean, when you think about convening 2,000 plus people across a week, and probably 500 players. I mean, you expect to see really good participation. Some games maybe not, but the other thing you have to remember, Jeff, is that we're also increasing the type of games. Hopefully sometime we'll have esports for the young people. So as we do that also, we hope the numbers will increase. And as my chairman said, we push it from Kenya outside.
Rioba, to you, and he's talking about e-sport. It's a sport that I'm seeing so many banks running to, so many corporates running to support. I don't know, because it's easier, I don't know, because it's cheap, I don't know why, but you see so many people going there. But we have, okay, let's talk about football. Football in this country probably is on its deathbed, and we don't know when it's coming back. But we have basketball, we have other games, we have volleyball, we have Malkia strikers here, and these are the teams which are flying the national flag high, especially individual athletes, and their team sport also in terms of athletes. They are 4x1 and 4x4. Are we seeing banks now thinking about getting there, or you're afraid you might put your money in there, you don't get the purpose, or you put your money there, doesn't give you the value back?
No, I'm seeing banks will get there. You know, for banks, as long as there is value, they're willing to invest. Even as much as we say it has been COVID, but I'm saying in terms of technology, because banks are being driven by technology as we speak. So even in terms of sports, that's the way to go. We'll be heading there. And I'm sure that banks are willing to invest in that line to make sure that it happens very well.
Right.
And James, I want to add another point. Jeff, I want to add another point. Also, who's the bracket of people who are playing most of the sports? It's younger people, right? Jeff, you're Ejiako?
I'm still playing.
You're still playing,
yes.
See? So what are they playing? Esports. So even as the chairman says, there will be where there's value in technology and the age group, you've perhaps a little bit more of that.
But mostly I think it's more easier for bankers to support golf. I don't know why. Is it because most deals are done at the golf course?
You know, golf is a business game. No questions about that.
Yeah.
If you want to transact business, where do you do it? You probably do it in golf, right? So when our sponsors are looking for value for money, they look at where can they get most value. You find a lot of senior managers, CEOs, decision makers, if you will, and will be at the golf course. So you probably will find most of your sponsors gravitating towards sports like that, where your decision makers are really key. But we want to change that. You know, the CEO run that's coming up on Saturday, the senior managers run that's coming up on Saturday. Those are also events that allow the same value for money. But yes, currently you'll see golf being the number one place where you get value.
So if I was in the banking sector, it's easier for me from now until Friday and Saturday, sit down with my CEO and talk one-on-one, right?
Another thing you need to note is traditionally golf has been recognized as a very big event, and then for business as well.
Yeah.
But remember, even the younger generation is also playing golf. We are having academies because we are trying to graduate these people to that level. Because as we change in terms of the technology and the current generation we have, even the business must think, how do we accommodate this? And that's why there are these academies.
Yeah.
We do not want the decision to be concentrated at a golf club. Because even these people, they have their own decision. They want to learn, because remember, there is succession. We need to see how can we succeed these people thereafter. Yeah.
You see, so Dr. I found so many young people playing sports. They have so much money, but they don't know that the sporting years has a limit. You might be the best today, but in the next 2 to 3 years, or in the next few months, or 4 days from now, you have an injury that determines your life for good. And some of these players have not even thought about investing on SMEs, investing on forex exchange, investing for the future, and yet they have so much money. How do you reach out to these players?
So, Jeff, I think that's a key issue that you've brought up. If you look outside of Kenya and some of these other North America, for example, and Europe, they really plan their so to speak retirement. You know, they know they have a lifespan of 15, 20 years, so they plan that very well. Part of that is that there's an ecosystem that has been built around them so that the planning is easier. Look, when you have money, you want to spend money. But if you have a financial advisor, or if you have some people around you, managers around you, people who really tell you, remember, this is not a car that you can drive for 30, 20 years.
Yeah.
So how do we reach out to them is we need to start building ecosystems around our players as they earn money, so that money can be used well. You know, you've seen some of our really established players who are on the streets begging. Why? And there's a time they used to earn money, because there's nothing around them. So the people that perhaps are around them are people who are not giving them the right advice. You know, why don't we have financial advisors? Why don't we have managers who are looking at their future, not just at their pocket? Why don't we have systems where we insist that when we give you $1 million from a Boston Marathon, 200,000 or 300,000 goes to a retirement fund? You know, we can even tax it, so that there is either a willingness, or it's actually done not by force, but in such a way that eventually this person retires and has something. Because as soon as they build the house, that's it. They just start spending the money. And so you're bringing up a key thing, that as players become more established, there needs to be a way to help them.
You just came in late, just a few seconds late, because there was a story running about Irene Mogaka. She was the best, switched from track to marathon. She did so well. She won Kenya silver in the Commonwealth Games in Delhi, in India. And all of a sudden, during an injury, she went down, and she had family issues. The fiancé disappeared when the money started going down, and she didn't realize all that. And now she's struggling to get back. At least one more chance to probably win something, and as age as well is catching up with her. It's something that I think it's a very big discussion about our athletes and what they are saving and what they want to do with their lives. Now, Mr. Rioba, just as we wind up, tell us what's happening on 29th of October 2022. How is the schedule? what should we expect?
Wow, we're going to be expecting a very fantastic game. Most of the finals are going to happen on Saturday. We're going to be having the tug of war happening, the final, the football final happening at the same time. We have the CEO run, where the governor is going to be running as well. We have the corporate run, because the intention here is the corporate senior management of banks will also be running for the same. So it's going to be a very exciting day, and I look forward into having you there as well, so that you're able to see
I will
exact
be there.
thing
I will be there.
that happens. So
I want
it's
to
going
talk to
to
the
be a
CEOs
big event.
one-on-one.
Yes, it's
Well,
a
I
big
look in their
event.
eyes if they're lying to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Dr. James, just as we wind up, your final thoughts.
As my chairman said, we are really excited about the 29th. It's going to be one of those really exciting days, because that's the curtain closer, so to speak. If we're able to bring in even another special guest, we will try and do that. But the idea is that on that day, it's not just the games, the finals, it's not just the runs also, but it's also a time for the different teams to sit down and enjoy Saturday afternoon together. You know, Nyama Choma probably enjoying.
If Nyama Choma will be there, I will be there.
I was hoping you guys are going to be live, Jeff. I'm hoping you're covering live on that day.
We will be
live, kabisa.
Yeah.
Swimming, everything.
Yeah.
We cannot ask for more.
I hope, like, the way you're smiling now, in November we'll be smiling the same way, because Arsenal is playing Chelsea. How is that going to
And
happen?
we will win. We're winning this one. This is our season, Jeff.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. James Wanjagi, and also Mr. John Rioba from the KIB, Chairman, Governing Council, Kenya Institute of Bankers, and also team leader, Kenya Institute of Bankers. They have been here, and you know the Interbank games are underway. They are on their home stretch. There will be finals at the Kenya Institute of Monetary Studies in Nairobi, and we hope that you will be joining them, because there will be Nyama Choma, as they said, and wherever there's Nyama Choma, Kenyans don't miss, by the way. My name is Jeff Mugre. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, have a good day.